Ambassador Kethfer looked at the bright screen in front of him. His purple skin turned darker with worry. For 300 years, his people had been the best map makers in the galaxy. They knew every star, every planet, every space route. But now he stared at something that made no sense. There was a big, empty spot on their map. It was not just empty space filled with nothing. It was something much worse. It was a place their best machines could not see into. Their strongest sensors just stopped working when they tried to look there. "Sir, this is very strange," said his helper, a young Zorillian, whose tentacles shook with fear. "We sent 20 robot ships to explore that area. All 20 just disappeared. They did not explode. They did not send any messages. They just vanished." Kethfer touched the screen with his long finger. The empty area was not huge compared to the whole galaxy, but it was big enough to hold about 200 star systems. What made it really important was where it sat. 3 major space highways met right at that spot. Ships carrying goods from one side of the galaxy to the other had to go around it. This made their trips much longer and cost more money. "How long has this area been blank on our maps?" Kethfer asked. His helper checked the old records. "About 300 years, sir. Our great-great-grandfathers first noticed it when they were making maps of this part of space. They thought it was just a mistake in their equipment. But every year, every new machine, every better sensor gives us the same result. Nothing." Kethfer walked to the big window of his ship. Outside, he could see the stars shining in the darkness. His people had visited most of those stars. They had made friends with many different types of creatures. Some looked like giant bugs. Others looked like walking trees. Some were made of energy instead of flesh. But all of them had one thing the same. They could be found. They could be seen. They could be understood. "What do the trade captains say about this area?" he asked. "They are scared, sir. Captain Mordok told me his grandfather once tried to fly through that space. His ship's computers went crazy. All his instruments started showing impossible readings. He turned around and flew away as fast as he could. Since then, no captain has tried to go there." The helper brought up more information on the screen. "Look at this, sir. We found some very old stories from different planets. They all talk about the same thing. Ships that went into that area and never came back. Strange lights seen at the edge of that space. Some even say they heard voices in languages no one knew." Kethfer nodded slowly. In his long life, he had seen many mysteries in space. Most of them turned out to have simple answers. A strange signal was usually just a broken satellite. Lights in space were often just gas clouds reflecting starlight. But this was different. This was a puzzle that had lasted for hundreds of years. "Sir, there is something else," his helper said quietly. "Yesterday, our listening posts picked up something odd. Very quiet radio signals coming from inside that blank area. The signals only lasted for a few seconds, but they were definitely there. What kind of signals? We do not know. The pattern was unlike anything in our databases. It was not natural like signals from stars or planets. It was artificial, made by intelligent beings. But the language or code was completely unknown to us." Kethfer felt a chill run through his body. If there were intelligent creatures living in that blank space, why had they never made contact? Every other race in the galaxy wanted to trade, to share knowledge, to grow bigger and stronger. Why would anyone choose to hide? "Have you told the Galactic Council about these signals?" he asked. "Not yet, sir. You said to bring everything to you first." Kethfer was glad he had said that. The Galactic Council included some very aggressive races. If they knew there might be unknown technology in that blank space, they would want to take it by force. That could start a war with creatures they knew nothing about. "Keep this information secret for now," he ordered. "Double our watching of that area. Put our best sensors on it. If anything comes out of there, I want to know immediately." As his helper left to follow orders, Kethver stared again at the blank spot on the map. Something was living there. Something smart enough to hide from the most advanced detection systems in the galaxy. The question was not what they were hiding from. The question was what they were hiding for. In the deep darkness of space, the blank area seemed to stare back at him. Somewhere in there, behind invisible walls, unknown eyes might be watching him too. The thought made him very uncomfortable. For the first time in his life, Ambassador Kethver felt like the one being studied. Instead of the one doing the studying, the galaxy suddenly felt much bigger and much more dangerous than it had that morning. Captain Veltar's ship was dying around him. Red lights flashed everywhere, as alarms screamed warnings he already knew by heart. His cargo vessel had been carrying rare metals to the outer rim when the Kravik pirates found him. Their black ships had chased him for 2 days across 3 star systems. "Sir, the engine is failing," shouted his engineer over the noise. "We have maybe 10 minutes before it stops completely." Veltar looked at his navigation screen. They were close to the edge of the blank area that all spacers avoided. His grandfather had told him stories about ships that went in there and never came out. But right now, the pirates behind him seemed more dangerous than old stories. "Set course for the Forbidden Zone," he ordered. His crew looked at him like he had gone crazy. "Captain, no one goes in there," his pilot said with wide eyes. "Would you rather die from pirates or take a chance on the unknown?" Veltar asked. Before anyone could answer, another blast from the pirate ships hit their hull. The lights went out for a moment, then came back, dim and flickering. The decision was made for them. Veltar's ship crossed the invisible line into the blank area. At first, nothing happened. The stars looked the same. Space looked the same. But then his instruments started acting very strange. His radar showed empty space, but also showed something huge right next to them. His radio picked up signals that made no sense. "Captain, the pirates have stopped chasing us," his pilot said with surprise. Veltar looked at the rear screen. The pirate ships had stopped right at the border of the blank area. They were just floating there, like they were afraid to come closer. Suddenly, all the ship's alarms stopped. The red warning lights turned off. The engines stopped making bad noises. Veltar had never heard his ship so quiet. "What is happening?" he whispered. A soft blue light appeared outside their main window. It was not coming from any star. It was coming from a ship that seemed to appear out of nowhere. The ship was smooth and clean, like it was made from one piece of metal. It did not look like any ship design Veltar had ever seen. A gentle voice came through their radio. The voice spoke in perfect Catherian, his own language. "Damaged vessel. This is Captain Mingy of the UES Redemption. Your ship looks like it needs help. May we come aboard?" Veltar had never heard of the UES or any Captain Mingy, but the voice sounded kind, not threatening like the pirates. "Who are you?" he asked. "What species are you?" "We are humans," the voice said. "We live in this area of space. Your ship is hurt, and you look scared. Let us help you." Veltar did not know what a human was. In all his years of flying between different worlds, he had never heard that word. But his ship was still broken, and he was far from home. "You may come aboard," he said. A small shuttle came out of the smooth ship and connected to Veltar's cargo. Hold. When the airlock opened, Veltar got his first look at a human being. She was shorter than him, with only 2 arms and 2 legs. Her skin was brown, and she had black hair that was cut short. But the most strange thing about her was that she was smiling. In Veltar's experience, when strange aliens boarded your ship, they did not smile. They made threat displays or showed their weapons, or demanded tribute. This human just looked happy to see him. "Hello," she said. "I am Captain Mingy. Are you hurt? Is your crew safe?" 2 more humans came with her. One was carrying what looked like medical equipment. The other had tools for fixing ships. They all wore clean uniforms and had that same strange smile. We are not hurt, Veltar said carefully. But our ship is damaged. We can fix that, said the human with tools. His name tag said Engineer Temin. Your engine has a crack in the power core. It is dangerous, but not too hard to repair. While Temin worked on the engine, the medical human checked Veltar and his crew to make sure they were healthy. Captain Minji sat with Veltar in his small dining area and offered him something called coffee. I have never heard of humans before, Veltar admitted. Most people in the galaxy have not, Minji said. We like to keep to ourselves. We do not bother others, and we hope others do not bother us. But this whole area is blank on our maps. Our sensors cannot see into it. Minji's smile changed a little. It was still friendly, but now it looked like she was keeping a secret. We are good at not being seen when we do not want to be seen. Why did you help me? You do not know me. Because you needed help, she said simply. That is what good people do. In 3 hours, Veltar's ship was completely repaired. It ran better than it had in years. The humans gave him food, medicine, and even some rare materials to replace what he had lost. As they prepared to leave, Veltar asked, "Why does this area appear empty on our maps?" Captain Minji walked him to the airlock. Her smile became mysterious again. "Oh, that. We prefer our privacy." 3 months after Captain Veltar returned from the blank area, every important leader in the galaxy sat in the Grand Council chamber. The huge room buzzed with worried voices speaking in dozens of different languages. Veltar's report had shocked everyone. The blank spot was not empty. Something lived there. Something that could fix ships better than the best engineers in the galaxy. Something that spoke every language perfectly. Something that called itself human. High Admiral Nexrim of the Hegemony stood up. His red scales glowed with anger as he spoke. This is impossible. Our spy satellites watch everything within 50,000 light years. Our sensors can see a small rock floating in empty space. Nothing could hide from us for 300 years. The other leaders nodded and made sounds of agreement. The Hegemony had the strongest military in the galaxy. Their technology was famous for finding things that did not want to be found. Ambassador Kethfer was about to speak when every communication device in the room started beeping at the same time. Phones, computers, message screens, even the old radio systems, everything turned on by itself. A simple message appeared on all the screens. New data package received. Priority, maximum. The council's computer expert, a spider-like being named Kliktar, worked quickly at his control panel. His 8 arms moved over the buttons with speed. "This is strange," he said. The message came from everywhere at once. Every satellite, every relay station, every communication hub received it at exactly the same second. "What does it contain?" asked the council president. Kliktar opened the data package. His face went pale. "Leaders, you need to see this." The main screen in the chamber lit up with information that made everyone go silent. There were detailed records of military ship movements from the last 100 years, secret meeting recordings between different governments, trade agreements that were supposed to be private, personal messages between leaders and their families. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was that all of this information was perfectly organized. It was sorted by date, by government, by level of importance. Someone had been watching them, listening to them, and recording everything for a very long time. At the end of the data package was a simple invitation: meeting requested. Coordinates attached. Come alone or with small diplomatic groups. Weapons not necessary. We have been waiting to meet you properly. The coordinates led to a star system that had never appeared on any map. 2 weeks later, a small fleet of diplomatic ships arrived at those coordinates. What they saw made even the most experienced space travelers gasp in amazement. Hundreds of worlds orbited dozens of stars. The planets were green and blue, obviously full of life. Space stations bigger than cities floated between the worlds. connected by streams of light. Ships moved back and forth in organized patterns, like insects around a flower. But the most shocking thing was how advanced everything looked. The space stations seemed to bend space around them. The ships moved in ways that should have been impossible. Energy flowed through the air like rivers of light. A human ship approached their fleet. It was sleek and beautiful, but somehow it also looked simple. A voice spoke to them in perfect standard Galactic. "Welcome to human space. I am Admiral Jinwoo of the Human Federation. Please follow me to our meeting station." The meeting station was larger than most planets. Inside, the walls were made of something that looked like crystal, but was harder than metal. Gardens grew in impossible places. Water flowed upward in streams that sparkled with their own light. Admiral Jinwoo met them in a chamber that could hold 1,000 beings. He was tall for a human, with black hair and dark eyes. Like all humans they had met, he smiled when he saw them. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I know this must be very surprising for you. How long have you been watching us?" Ambassador Kethver asked. His voice shook a little. "Since we first reached the stars, about 800 years ago," Jin replied calmly. "We learned early that the galaxy could be a dangerous place. We decided it was better to watch and learn before making ourselves known." High Admiral Nextrim stepped forward, his scales now bright with anger. "You have been spying on us for centuries. You have violated every law of galactic privacy. Why should we not consider this an act of war?" Jinwoo's smile did not change, but his eyes became more serious. "Because, Admiral, we have not just been watching, we have been protecting." The chamber's walls became transparent, showing the true size of human space. It was not just the blank area they knew about. Human territory stretched across thousands of star systems, hidden by technology that made them invisible to outside. Sensors, every pirate ship that disappeared in the last 300 years. We captured them and sent them to the edge of the galaxy with a warning, Jinwoo explained. Every slave trading operation that mysteriously failed, we freed the slaves and gave them new homes. Every war that ended suddenly without explanation, we helped make peace. The alien leaders looked at each other with new understanding and new fear. The humans had not been hiding from the galaxy. They had been secretly taking care of it. The question now, Jinwoo continued, is what happens next. Admiral Jinwoo walked to the center of the crystal chamber. The alien leaders sat in chairs that adjusted to fit their different body shapes. Some were tall, some were short, some had tentacles, others had wings, but all of them leaned forward to listen as the human began to speak. "Let me tell you about our first contact with the galaxy," Jinwoo said. His voice was calm and steady. 800 years ago, we humans had just learned to travel between stars. We were excited to meet other intelligent beings. We thought the galaxy would welcome us. A holographic image appeared above them, showing a small blue planet. Earth looked peaceful and beautiful, with white clouds and green continents. We had only for ships that could travel to other star systems. They were slow and simple compared to what you have today. But we were proud of them. Our best engineers built them, and our bravest pilots flew them to nearby stars. The image changed to show crude human spaceships. They looked like metal boxes, with engines attached. The alien leaders almost wanted to laugh at how primitive they were. On our 5th mission, we met the Mordock hegemony, Jinwoo continued. The chamber went very quiet. Every being in the room knew that name, even though the Mordock had vanished 300 years ago. "Hi, Admiral." Nextrum shifted uncomfortably in his chair. The Mordock ruled this entire sector for thousands of years. They had the strongest military force in galactic history. Yes, they did, Jinwoo agreed. And they met our little exploration ship with a fleet of war vessels. Their commander told us that humans were now property of the Mordock Empire. We had to give them tribute, food, materials, technology. If we refused, they would destroy Earth and take everything anyway. The holographic display showed massive Mordock battleships surrounding a tiny human vessel. The size difference was like a whale next to a fish. "What did you do?" asked Ambassador Kethver. We said no. Jinwoo's smile became harder. The Mordock commander laughed. He thought we were stupid. He gave us 1 year to deliver our tribute, then left. He said if we tried to run or hide, they would hunt us down and make our species extinct. The alien leaders made nervous sounds. Fighting the Mordock had been suicide. Many powerful civilizations had tried and failed. So we did what humans do best, Jinwoo said. We learned, we adapted, and we prepared. Our scientists worked day and night to understand Mordock technology. Our engineers built new types of ships. Our military planners studied every battle the Mordock had ever fought. The display showed humans working frantically in laboratories and shipyards. They looked determined and focused. But most importantly, we learned how to hide. We developed stealth technology that could make our ships invisible to any sensor. We built underground cities that could not be detected from space. We created quantum fields that made our star systems appear empty on all maps. Engineer Clicktar raised one of his spider arms. "That is impossible. Our sensors can detect anything." "Your sensors detect what we allow them to detect," Jinwoo replied simply. The display changed to show the galaxy as it really was. The blank spot that had puzzled everyone for centuries was actually filled with thousands of human settlements, all hidden behind advanced technology. When the Mordock came back after 1 year, they could not find Earth. They could not find any human ships or colonies. As far as their instruments could tell, we had simply vanished from the universe. "But you were there," whispered Ambassador Kethver. "Oh yes, we were there, watching them search, learning their patrol patterns, studying their weaknesses. The Mordock spent 50 years looking for us. They sent hundreds of fleets into human space, but they could not see us even when we were right next to them." The holographic display showed Mordock ships flying through space while human vessels followed them like invisible shadows. "They never found us," Jinwoo continued, "but we found all of them. We learned where every Mordock base was located. We knew their supply routes, their communication codes, their military plans. We became experts on Mordock civilization." High Admiral Nexrim leaned forward. "The Mordock did not just disappear. What happened to them?" Jinwoo was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was very soft. "We gave them the same choice they gave us. Leave this part of the galaxy forever, or be destroyed. Most of them chose to leave. Those who did not choose," he shrugged. "Well, you have noticed that the Mordock hegemony no longer exists." The chamber was completely silent. The alien leaders stared at the human admiral with new understanding. Humanity had not just survived their first contact with a galactic superpower, they had completely eliminated it. "Since then, we have been the silent guardians of this region," Jinwoo said. "We stop wars before they start. We catch criminals that governments cannot find. We protect trade routes from pirates. We have been doing this work for 300 years, and most of you never knew we existed." Commander Hannah, another human officer, stepped forward. "Every civilization in this chamber has been helped by human actions, at least once. You just did not know it was us." The alien leaders looked at each other with shock and fear. If humans could make the mighty Mordock disappear, what else could they do? Jinwoo smiled his gentle human smile again. "Do not be afraid. We are not your enemies. We are your neighbors who prefer privacy." The alien leaders sat in shocked silence for several minutes after Admiral Jinwoo finished speaking. The truth about humanity's role in galactic affairs was almost too much to understand. They had been living under human protection for centuries, without knowing it. Finally, High Admiral Nexrim found his voice. "You destroyed the Mordock hegemony, one of the most powerful empires in galactic history. How many others have you, removed?" Jinwoo exchanged looks with Commander Hannah, a human woman with short brown hair and intelligent eyes. She stepped forward to answer. 17 major threats in the past 300 years, she said calmly. The Mordok were just the first. There was the flesh cult that wanted to turn all organic life into their twisted experiments. The machine lords who tried to replace every living being with robots. The void worshippers who opened gates to dark dimensions. Ambassador Kethfer's purple skin went pale. I remember some of those names from old history books. They say those groups just disappeared or destroyed themselves. They did not destroy themselves, Hannah replied. We helped them make that decision. Some chose exile. Others chose to fight. Fighting us was always a mistake. The holographic display showed images of various alien species and their ships. Some looked normal. Others were clearly dangerous and wrong. All of them had one thing in common: they were gone. But we did not just remove threats, Jinwoo continued. We also prevented them. Do you remember the border war between the Zephyrians and the Crystal People 15 years ago? Several leaders nodded. It had been a terrible conflict that suddenly ended when both sides agreed to peace for no clear reason. We convinced them to stop fighting by showing them evidence that a third party was secretly supplying weapons to both sides, hoping they would destroy each other. When they realized they were being manipulated, they made peace and turned against their real enemy. Engineer Clicktar clicked his mandibles nervously. How many of our decisions have been influenced by human actions? Fewer than you might think, Hannah assured him. We only interfere when absolutely necessary. Most of the time, we just watch and learn. We believe in letting civilizations make their own choices, as long as those choices do not threaten innocent people. The chamber's walls became transparent, again, showing the vast network of hidden human settlements throughout the galaxy. Ships moved between them like blood flowing through invisible veins. This changes everything, said Council President Yexani, an ancient being who had led the Galactic Council for over 2 centuries. All our treaties, our trade agreements, our military plans, they were made without knowing about the most powerful force in the galaxy. We prefer to think of ourselves as the most careful force, Jinwoo corrected gently. Power without wisdom is dangerous. We learned that lesson from watching others. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the station. Red lights flashed, and a human officer ran into the chamber. He whispered urgently in Jinwoo's ear. The Admiral's face became very serious. What is happening? Demanded High Admiral Nexrim. Jinwoo looked at the gathered leaders with grim eyes. This is why we decided to reveal ourselves now. We need your help. The holographic display changed to show the edge of the galaxy. Strange shapes moved in the darkness between stars, things that did not look like normal ships or space phenomena. For the past 50 years, we have been detecting movement beyond the galactic rim, Jinwoo explained. Something is coming toward us from the void between galaxies. Something that makes the Mordok look like children playing with toys. The shapes in the display moved closer, and the alien leaders could see they were vast, larger than planets, but clearly artificial. They pulsed with dark energy that seemed to eat light itself. We call them the Devourers, Hannah said. They consume entire star systems, turning matter and energy into more of themselves. Our deep space scouts have watched them destroy 3 small galaxies over the past century. Ambassador Kethfer stood up, his legs shaking. How long do we have? Based on their current speed, they will reach the outer rim of our galaxy in approximately 10 years, Jinwoo replied. We have been preparing for this fight, but we cannot win it alone. The chamber erupted in panicked voices, as different species argued in their own languages. Some wanted to flee to the far side of the galaxy. Others suggested surrendering immediately. A few talked about hiding like the humans had done. Jinwoo raised his hand, and the room became quiet. Running will not work. They will find you eventually. Hiding will not work. They can detect life across vast distances, and surrender is not possible. They do not communicate. They do not negotiate. They only consume. What do you propose? Asked Council President Yexani. An alliance, Hannah said. A real one, not the loose cooperation you have now. We share our technology. You share yours. We combine our fleets, our knowledge, our resources. We prepare together, fight together, or die together. Why should we trust you? Hi, Admiral, Nextrim demanded. You have been lying to us for centuries. Jin Wu's smile returned, but it was sadder now. Because, Admiral, we could have conquered you all long ago, if that was our goal. Instead, we protected you. We are not your enemies. We are your neighbors, who stayed hidden until you needed us. The truth hung in the air like a weight. Humanity had revealed themselves not to conquer or control, but because the galaxy faced something worse than anyone had ever imagined. The age of secrets was over. The age of cooperation had begun. Welcome to the real galaxy, Jinwu said quietly. We have work to do.